Hi guys, thank you for checking into everything about Amanda. So I wanted to do a quick video today about defaults. Default. Anyone who has a credit report and they care about the credit report, which everyone does, everyone has a credit report, but some of us neglect or credit so bad. That was me once upon a time. Now I am a little bit I would say obsessed with credit. I use Equifax, Xperia, ClearScore, Credit Karma, TransUnion. I've got literally all of them. I mean, you don't need to be as paranoid as me, because that's just me now, because I started to take a little bit of time out to make sure my credit report is up to scratch. So has anyone ever had like loans, credit card, store card, hire purchase, whatever it is? If you've had anything like that before and you haven't paid it and it go past all the 3 months, the bank or the lender has got the right to stick a default on your credit. Bear in mind, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I am studying to become one, but I'm not there yet. But I'm just giving you personal experience. I'm sharing with you. You may get value from this video, maybe you don't, but basically I know there's good contents in here because it's work for myself. So if you have a default on your credit report and you're wondering what can you do to get rid of that default, the good news is there may be something that you can do to get rid of it. The bad news is there isn't much options available. However, you can be creative and do things a little bit different. For me personally, I had a default before and I was very creative of how to get rid of it basically. So what I've done, which you can take notes and do your own points. I'm sure you probably won't have the same scenario as me. Personally speaking, I had a default from a hire purchase with a car, which was probably about 5 years ago. I was still making payments on there for probably about £50 a month. The balance was just over £3,000, £3,500. So basically what I did, I wrote to the bank and also spoke to the external company who purchased the debt off the bank, because they basically lost my car when I gave it back to them. So I stopped making payment on it. I wouldn't suggest doing this. You should always keep making payments on your anything you've got. If the contract hasn't ended, the term hasn't ended. Personally speaking, for personal reason, I didn't keep making payments on it, which was my fault. But to make it short for all you guys who's probably wondering how you can get it removed, you can get it removed. The first thing you'll need to do, you'll need to probably write a letter, which is the old-fashioned way, yes, to the company, the debtor, the lender, sorry, and basically explain to them that there's a few key things that you want to indicate in that letter. The first thing that you want to indicate in that letter, you do want to indicate that Dear, for example, Barclays or Santander, I understand that you have placed a default on my credit, and I would like to make you aware that even though you have placed a default on my credit, I have made financial changes to my circumstances. It is affecting me financially and physically and socially as well, because maybe it's affecting you with your day-to-day life. For example, you can't get a loan, you can't get hire purchase, you can't get credit cards, you can't buy a property. Whatever reason it's affecting you for, you can make it clear to them and explain to them that this is affecting your financial life, because basically you have basically got a default on your credit and you're not able to obtain a mortgage, you're not able to obtain a loan, you're not able to obtain a hire purchase car, It's affecting you with your job, because basically if you don't have a car, you may not be able to get to work. It's affecting your family. If you've got kids, do mention that. That's very important. Always mention your kids in there. Just let them know basically this is what it's doing to me, not just me but my kids, my family. It's affecting me purchasing a property, and you would like to ask them as a goodwill gesture to set the default aside. Some of them may set it aside when you write the first letter. Do also include in that letter as well that, you know, basically you are willing to, if you're in the position to, if the balance is not clear, you're willing to clear the balance. You can either do a settlement. If you're going to get the default removed off your credit, it doesn't matter if you do a settlement. If you're not going to get it removed off your credit, it may do matter, because basically what that means is going to reflect on your credit as a partial settlement and not a satisfy. And if it's a partial satisfy, it may pose a problem. Take it again, I'm not a financial advisor. I am studying to become one, so I can only give advice from my own personal experience, but that may affect you. The other thing that you want to do after you have wrote the letter or send the email, you also want to contact the company. Whoever the company is, just give them a quick call, let them know that you have sent them an email or you have sent them a letter. If it's a letter, give them probably about 3 to 5 days to sort it, because I work in an office environment and I know sometimes when we do receive handwritten letters, sometimes we don't sort it at the same time. Sometimes it's sent off to the back office to basically you know, upload it on the system and all of that. So it could be a similar process to that. If it's an email, it could be a quicker process. It could be the case where they you know, log the email within 72 hours, within 48 hours. Every company is different. You may want to find out what's their policy, because every business is very different. Every organization works different. With the organization that I work for, we will log anything within 72 hours, which there can be a backlog for many reasons. You know, so do check with the company or the lender. Once you've given them a call, you want to speak to them and let them know that basically you've sent a letter / an email, if that's the case, whichever one you choose to do, and you would like to follow up on this because basically, you know, you've asked for them to set the default aside and remove it off your credit because it's affecting your financial life. It may be affecting you getting a job, because some credit control job, if you're working in a financial organization, you may not be able to get that job if you've got a CCJ or a default on your credit or missed payment. You can put that in the letter as well. You may want to explain to them it's affecting you, you know, purchasing a property or obtaining a loan, which is affecting your young family if you've got family, or explain it's affecting your sick parents because you're trying to purchase a house for you and your parents. Whatever your scenario is, you want to be direct and firm to them and put everything in the contents of that email, and then you state to the person that you're speaking to on the phone. Always remember, guys, it's very important as well, before I forgot, when you're speaking to anyone on the phone, always state their name of the person you're speaking to. They may not be able to give you the last name, but that's fine. Always state their name, and always document the time that you do speak to them, because 99% any organization which is financial organization, they're going to record and monitor their calls. So definitely, you know, that call is recorded for quality assurance. You know that already, so basically you don't really have to worry about that. But you want to document who you have spoken to. If you have spoken to John in customer service at 10:05, you want to have a log, and you want to log that you've spoken to John at 10:05 and Monday the 19th of April 2021. You want to make sure you log that. Then they may suggest to you what's their policy with complaint or inquiries. They may say it's up to a month. They may say it's up to 6 weeks. You don't want to leave it that long. You sort of want to follow through with them. So you may want to keep them on the toes probably every week, because if you don't, you may get pushed at the back of the pile. And if you get pushed at the back of the pile, someone else's case is going to get handled before you. But because you're going to be very persistent about it, and you're going to basically follow up on this every couple of days or every week if you've got the time, I know some people's got a bit busy schedule, but for me personally, I had the time to follow up on it, so I was following up on it. Sometimes I gave them a call every other day, sometimes once a week, sometimes once or 2 weeks, sometimes every day. So it really depends at what stage I was at. I did explain to them it was affecting my financial life and I need to get it sorted, because if I didn't get it sorted, basically I'm going to become homeless. You can say whatever you want to say which fits your criteria. This was my criteria. It doesn't matter if I wasn't going to become homeless, but then, if I'm trying to do something and this is affecting me, it could potentially put me in a position which I'm forced to be homeless because I can't obtain credit. The other thing you want to do, you want to leave it with them. They may come back to you and say, okay, we're not going to remove the default. Then the next thing you want to do, if the debtor is Santander, for example, and they've sold it to Lowell, you want to contact Santander and you want to make an agreement with Santander. Just for example, whoever you've got the loan with, who was the original lender, you want to contact them, not the debtor, sorry. Once you contact them, you want to make them aware that you are willing to clear the balance. If you've got a balance on there, you may not. Under the circumstances that you receive an email stating that once I've cleared the balance, you will satisfy my account, not as partially satisfy, but fully satisfy, number one. Number two, once I've cleared the balance, you will remove it off my credit and don't log this default on my credit anymore because I've satisfied. The next thing that you want to do, you want to make sure that you explain to them that you would like to take the name of whoever you're speaking to. You log it, again, the time and the date and the person you've spoken to. Once you've done that, the other thing that you want to do, if they agree to do all of this on this one call, brilliant, job's done, you've got it. But the other thing that you have to remember, maybe the default was registered by Santander and also the person they sold it to, for example, Lowell. If that's the case, you're going to need to get them to send you everything in writing. You can be a little bit paranoid and state to the individual that you are speaking to, hello, Mr. Santander advisor, I would like to stay on the phone until you've sent the email over to me, because that's my proof, or that's my peace of mind that I've spoken to you, and what we have spoke about, you're going to acknowledge it before I come off the call, and then you don't get back to me. That's fine. He's agreed to do that. That's lovely. He sends you the email, and he also basically state to you he's gonna follow up with you, probably to make sure the default is falling off your credit or is satisfied. It's very important that you make sure that whoever is dealing with this update your credit, but don't update it in the sense where wait until it's due to be updated. It's very important that you ask them to update it manually, because if they update your credit report manually, it will get registered with TransUnion within 72 hours. If it's the weekend, it may take a little bit longer. However, it's not a mind-blowing game. If it's the weekend, we know it's, most organization, which is financial institute, they're closed, so which is understandable. Brilliant, that's done. The other thing that you want to do, you want to get back on the phone and also forward that email that you've got from the original lender to the person they've sold the debt to, for example, Lowell, and said, listen, I'm willing to pay off the balance or pay a settlement because my original lender at Santander state if I pay this off, you will remove this off my credit. You will no longer report on my credit as a default. They have to acknowledge the fact that the original debtor have advised that they're going to remove that. Threaten them. Say you're going to speak to the financial ombudsman. Not in a bad way, but you want to make sure that you've got, good reason to establish why this is going to be removed off your credit file. Brilliant. You send the email over, you speak to who you're speaking to, you leave it. He says he's going to check to see if it can get removed. Make sure you log this in the form of a complaint. because the complaint handler will have more things that they can do for you than the customer service team. The complaint handler's got less restriction. It's the same if a customer wants to cancel with anything, any company, the complaint handler may be able to give that customer 6 months free. The customer service advisor won't be able to do that because they don't have that power unless it's authorized by a manager. If you notice that they haven't called you back, Lowell, who is the external debtor, haven't called you back or email you or send you a letter in the post within probably 3 to 5 working days, you want to follow this up. You want to chase it because you need to be persistent. So the next thing you need to do, get on the phone with Mr. Lowell. Say to Mr. Lowell, Lowell, listen, I've been waiting for this to happen. You're, setting me back. I can't get a loan. I can't get a hire purchase. I can't purchase a property. I can't take out a loan because you're reflecting on my credit as a default. You're affecting my young family. You're affecting my financial life. And you're also putting a stress on my relationship. You can say to the extent. Then what you want to do next, before you actually call them, you want to send a letter to the head of their department at Lowell who's got the debt. So the letter you want to send in an email, the head of the department. So if the head of the department is John Peterson, you want to say, Dear John Peterson, from the head of customer relation or from the head of customer service, I would like to make a formal complaint that I've complained about a default or something that coming off my credit, late payment for 3 months or 2 months and nothing has been done. The original lender wrote a letter / email advised that this should be removed once payment has been made. I have made my payment now over 2 weeks, if that's the time. I'm a little bit concerned how you conduct your business as a individual because the customer service that I've received is very poor. I've had individual hang up the phone on me. I've had individual be rude on the be very rude on the phone with me. I've had individual giving me misleading information. I've also had individual on the phone from your department giving me multiple different information. You want to make their company seems very confused, like the customer service is zero. And I'm a little bit worried because at this point I do feel that I need to report you to the ombudsman because the way you're conducting your financial organization is not the way that I believe it should be done. You want to also make them aware that you know the law about anything to do with credit or late payment, default, and they're putting it out if you're way. Even if you don't know it, you can just blog it. It's easy. Do a bit of Google, check this, check that. So the person you're speaking to, you want to make sure that you state to them, I have sent an email to the head of the department and I would like this to be looked into by the head of the department. There's always going to be someone who is more senior, maybe one of the team leader, maybe one of the supervisor or the manager, who picks up anything which goes to the head of the department. Once it goes to the head of the organization, no company likes it. They're going to be playing ball with you all day. You're going to win. And after you do all of that, they should remove it. And if they don't remove it, then you may want to basically report them to the ombudsman if you've had poor service. But I guarantee you, after you've done these 3 steps, they should remove it. So step 1, write them a standard letter telling them it's affecting you. Step 2, contact the organization who was the original lender. Make a deal with them because sometimes they're more lenient because they want to get paid. Number 3, write to the head of the department and basically speak to the more senior person who is in power, have organization power in the business to do anything, and ask them to update your credit file manually, and you still wish to have everything in writing. Guys, thank you for joining my YouTube today. If this content was of use to you, please subscribe, like and share. It helps me and basically gets my page out there more. Thank you. Have a good one. God bless.